Welcome to the Power of Your Mind podcast. I'm Victoria Gallagher, your host. Have you been attempting to use law of attraction or hypnosis to attract financial abundance, a soulmate, or career success? Would you like to be happy, motivated, and successful? Have better health, enjoy more fulfilling relationships, overcome struggle, and gain mastery over your life? Then join me on this amazing self-help podcast where you'll unleash the power of your mind. I'll be sharing 20 years of wisdom and techniques of hypnotherapy, law of attraction, visualization, meditation, personal growth, positive affirmations, and other effective methods to help you tap into the great power which resides in your mind and become the best version of yourself. Well, hello and welcome to today's episode of the Power of Your Mind podcast. You're listening to episode number 103. I'm Victoria Gallagher, Law of Attraction hypnotist and #1 best-selling author of Practical Law of Attraction, Align Yourself with the Manifesting Conditions and Successfully Attract Your Desires. I'm also the founder of HipTalk.com and HypnoCloud apps, which gives you access to over 500 hypnosis recordings right in the palm of your hand. So be sure to download that from the app stores. And so today I have a very special guest with me, Cynthia Cummins. Cynthia is a top-producing realtor in San Francisco for the past 30 years, the founder of Kindred San Francisco Homes, and the author of the popular blog realestatetherapy.org, which explores the rich and complex narrative behind every home sale and reveals the ideas and guidelines that make the experience a rewarding, life-affirming journey. Cynthia sells houses in San Francisco, which is arguably the most daunting real estate market in the country, where winning a 900 square foot 2-bedroom condo means coughing up $1.2 million in cash and doing battle with 5 other buyers for that dubious honor. It's a pressure cooker where commerce and human emotions collide. And in her 30 years spent swimming in that soup, she has gained a lot of wisdom about the psychology of seeking shelter. Buying or selling property is a focus for the manifestation of every desire, neurosis, dream, or value a human being can possess. And real estate is first and foremost about home and its deepest meaning. It's not merely a transaction, it's a transition. And if you're lucky, it offers a chance for transformation and healing. She can also be found on these websites, realestatetherapy.org, Kindred, sfhomes.com, and that'll be in the show notes. So today, Cynthia is going to share some of her insights on using mindfulness to make a more meaningful home. So welcome to the show, Cynthia.
Hi, Victoria. I'm really excited to be here and to be number 103, episode 103. That has a nice ring to it.
Doesn't it?
Right?
Yes. That's great. And, I'm excited to have you be number 1 in number of realtors I've had on the show. I think that that's a pretty amazing thing that you do, helping people to really change the meaning of what it is, what it means to buy a home. Because, it's one thing to have a dream house, but it's a whole other thing to be able to, take this transaction and turn it into a transformation in one's life. So I'm really curious how you do that for your buyers and your sellers. So thank you so much for, being here and to share your insights with us.
Great. how do I do that?
Yeah. So tell us, let's just get started with some of the Q&A here. So tell us, like, what is the difference between this, so we think about buying a house, we think about a home, but what is really the difference? What does it really come down to between a house and a home?
Well, I think that people love to talk about real estate. I don't know about you, Victoria, but I'm always interested in talking about things like mindfulness or holistic living or nutrition or writing or literature. But people, when you go to parties or hang out with family, a lot of times real estate is the topic. And at least here in San Francisco, there's so many big stories about real estate. Like, can you believe how much that house sold for? And
I can imagine that's a pretty popular topic there.
Yeah, or we heard that they got 12 offers on that condo. Or, the people love to talk about real estate, and then you're always hearing in the news about low interest rates or low inventory or an increase in housing starts, the availability of certain kinds of mortgages, trends in the face of shelter in place. We hear a lot of that. And when people are in the middle of buying or selling their home, it's a lot of times easy to get caught up in the statistics and the news about it. But when you really get down to it, real estate is a really primal, basic need. It's right behind food as what we need to survive. We need to have food,
clothing, and shelter.
Right, exactly. And so on the most primal, liminal level, it's about shelter and sanctuary. Mm-hmm. And it's easy in the middle of trying to, quote, get a good deal or sell for a lot of money or buy when the market's right. It's easy to lose track of what you're actually doing. And it's hard. I can't really, you can't do years worth of mindfulness training during a 45-day escrow or a 6-month home search. But I, as the agent, as the facilitator, as the ally, can hold for my clients this bigger meaning and try to bring that to everything that we do.
Yeah, I mean, because it's a big deal for, most people. I would imagine, most people only do this, once, maybe twice in their whole life. Right. And most people are thinking about their dream home that they want to move into. And then, some will, I don't know, if maybe it's not their dream home. Maybe it's just a home that this is the best they can do at this point in their life. And there's just so much deeper, so much underneath the surface. Right. Is what I'm hearing you say.
Yeah. The dream, I know what my dream home would be, and I don't think I can afford it. I'm sure that I can't afford it.
But wouldn't it be a dream home if you could afford it right now, right?
Oh, yeah,
the
right.
next one beyond that. Once you get into your dream home, you're probably going to have another new dream.
Yeah, I think and I think a fun exercise is to remove all constraints on your thinking. This is just for you and me and our listeners right now. And not think about your budget or actual reality, like the fact that in San Francisco you have to spend $2 million to get a really nice 3-bedroom, 2-bath in a B+ neighborhood. And that'll be less than 2,000 square feet. So people are always having to resize their dreams. Mm-hmm. right, to fit reality. But if I were to say, okay, what's my dream home? I would tell you today, my dream home would be a beautiful mid-century, very minimalist, comforting home that is right on Lake Louise, that's sitting right there where the Lake Louise hotel is, up in the Canadian Rockies. We're talking pristine, beautiful. Nobody will ever get to have a house there. So let's say that's my dream. A good exercise to do is to think about what that ultimate dream is, and then figure out what are the qualities that offers that you can bring to San Francisco and to your $1 million budget, right? What is it about the Lake Louise mid-century dwell style house what are the qualities there that I can translate into my reality?
Yes, I love that. That is, and being somebody who teaches people, about law of attraction, so much of it has to do with, the vibration and the feeling, and of course the qualities that you need to ultimately bring to the table. And so I love that you mentioned, you may not be going into that home, but you want to think about what are the qualities that would have, so that now you get ultimately what it is that you really want, which is the qualities. You want to feel a certain way. You want that to enhance those qualities in your life. And
right.
So I love thinking about it that way. Just like as a little story, so we're renting and we have our dream home on the horizon, and and it may not be the dream home, but we're definitely going to be moving into an intermediate space. And one of the things I think about is like, right now we're very much lacking in drawer space in our in our bathroom. It's just kind of ridiculous. Our master bathroom is just, it's ridiculous. Very tiny little shower for this place. It's just doesn't seem
right.
to like they didn't put much thought into the bathroom.
Big enough for a toothbrush, maybe.
Exactly. And, but one of the things that, so that's definitely one of the things I am ultra sensitive in looking at when I'm like cruising realtor.com and like, okay, I got to check out make sure the bathroom's got plenty of drawer space. But here's, I love that you said that, because it's like, well, how do I translate that into my current reality right now? What is it about having that extra drawer space? Is it, and how can I create that being my reality in any situation? And so it just really makes a lot of sense, I think, that, the things that we want, on the surface, they mean one thing, but they really have a deeper meaning, to us. And, for me, it's just the ease and the comfort and having, the space. But what does that space really mean? What is it really giving to me? What is that quality giving to me? And it's really just kind of giving me a sense of easiness. I want it to be easy.
And ease. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's you can have a list of, I need to have 2 bedrooms, 2 baths, parking, outdoors, whatever the list is. But you could have something like spacious master bathroom that, because of your present situation or your history, becomes such a big deal that pretty soon that's driving everything.
Yes.
Like somebody will say, I had a couple I worked with once. I remember they had a huge argument right in the middle of this space.
With each other?
With each other, as I and the listing agent looked on with great compassion. because this was a perfect space in every way, except it only had one bathroom. And the husband said, I love this place. We're fine with just one bathroom. And
no.
just flipped out, and it became very personal.
Yeah.
But I got, what we saw was that it was about her need for privacy, her need for autonomy and space around getting ready for work in the morning and not having her husband in there kicking her out or saying she was spending too much time in the bathroom, right? It was more about kind of their dynamic and how they talk to each other, and not so much about the bathroom itself.
Exactly. Yeah.
And you don't want the two bathrooms to be the tail that's wagging the dog, right? So I always have one little corner of my mind open to listen for those things that are getting in people's way.
Mm-hmm. So that's kind of the stuff that's like getting in the way.
Yeah, it can be that. I mean, there's so many aspects to the real estate transaction that become the focus for whatever's going on in your psyche. I mean, Victoria, that like in dream work, if you're dreaming about a house, it's about your very being. It's about you, right? If you're dreaming about a vehicle, it's about your movement through life, right? Your way, your path. If you're dreaming about a house, it's about your house. And there's so many things that attach to the actual finding or selling of an actual house. If you think about like our vocabulary, there's so many words that have to do with relationships and family that also have to do with money, right? So or something like my values, right? I have certain values. Well, my home has a certain value. Or I've invested a lot of time in this relationship. That's like a money term. And so people bring this transactional kind of vocabulary to the deals that they're making in their everyday life. And so real estate can become this huge thing that you can like just lay it all on that.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, if you're going through a divorce or separation or bringing a new child into the world or getting married, losing your job, battling cancer, that just ups the ante to another level in the middle of a real estate transaction.
Yeah, I can't even, it's even hard. It's hard to imagine even going through such a major life change and at the same time searching for, the ideal home. I'm sure a lot of people though are almost forced into needing to do that during, obviously, if you're going through a divorce, and you're not moving into an apartment, you're going to need to find a new home. And so, going, just recently getting married obviously leads to those transactions. So,
yeah, anytime that you're changing where you live, there's some transition going on, probably beyond just finding a different house. Something else is happening. And sometimes all sorts of things are happening all at one time. Like since the shelter-in-place order went into effect here in San Francisco, I've had multiple people whose plans and transitions were interrupted with, whoa, wait a minute. I can't even show my house to people, or I can't even go see a house, or, ooh, the buyers I had in contract to buy my house want a $300,000 discount because of COVID. So best laid plans and all that. It's important to try and find a home within ourselves where we can ground and be calm and be present, even as everything spins out of control around us.
If you find value in this personal growth related material, I strongly recommend that you sign up for your $1 trial to my Personal Growth Club. Just head on over to personalgrowthclub.com and get a whole month of premium Personal Growth Club video training materials, meditations. You also get 6 free hypnosis sessions that are valued at over $174, all for this trial of just $1. Even if you cancel, you can keep the 6 hypnosis sessions. That's my gift to you, and that's how confident I am that you are going to love Personal Growth Club. Go to personalgrowthclub.com and start your $1 1-month trial today. Yeah. And calm and present, when you are calm and present, you're going to make way better decisions for yourself. And I think it would help to ease up some of I think people bring their limiting beliefs into the home buying process. Like I have a limiting belief that it has to be and here I do have the luxury of living in Arizona. So, so buying a, 5-bedroom, 4-bathroom house here doesn't even cost half as much as the 900 square foot home that you're talking about. But for me, I have a limiting belief that it's got to be 5 bedrooms. And I found myself in a situation the other day where there is this beautiful home down the street, and it's like, it's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. And I have such a connection with it, but it's only 4 bedrooms. So it's like, it's bothering me a little bit. It's bothering me that it only has 4 bedrooms, and I'm trying to figure out, can I give up, that for making that work? But,
what do you have to give up? I mean, that's a personal question, but what would you have to give up to make it work?
So for me, we're currently in a 4-bedroom, and so I have this is my studio where I make my recordings and where I do. But I have my downstairs office where I have all my books and my other computer, and it's kind of where I do my logical work, my marketing and that. So I have my woo-woo office up here, for my creative brain, and I have my logical, rational brain office downstairs. And then we have a kind of a combined room that is our guest bedroom / my husband's office. And I really want to separate those. I really want to have my husband have his own place and have a dedicated guest bedroom. So, that in an ideal,
that's 1, 2. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And then plus we have our master. So, guest, his office, my 2 offices, and our master. And that's what, that's, and then I want a dedicated bathroom for getting back into fostering kittens again. Right. And, and part of the reason why I need this, my own studio is because, I do want to soundproof it, because I am at the mercy of outdoor noises, as we were talking about earlier. And I want it to be like professionally soundproofed, so that I don't ever have to wait for little Joey next door to stop screaming, or wait for airplanes or cars or lawnmowers or anything like that. I just
or the cement pour that's going on right outside of
the construction sites or any of that. So call it that's an ideal thing, but I'm sure if it was. I think so. It's like I said, it's a limiting belief that I have to have it that way. But I think that there's workarounds. It doesn't have to be exactly that way. And
yeah, I mean, there are workarounds, but it's finding the one that makes sense and that you can embrace as being a positive, worth it, because I am such an advocate for women in particular to have their own room, just like in the Virginia Woolf book, A Room of One's Own. Oftentimes as women, we're the ones who end up compromising and saying, oh, it's okay if my office is, and this is true for me, consists of a chair and a dresser in the guest room, right? And all of my business is conducted from that corner.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel a little bit unhappy and resentful about that. So we need to be careful about what we give up.
Exactly. Yeah. And in this case, it's my husband that has the little chair and the desk in the guest bedroom. So he needs his own room.
Right. There's so many creative things that you can do. And especially if you've got some square footage to work with, it's easy to put up partition walls to create 2 rooms out of one. Like you might be able to have your husband's office and your logical office in a similar big space with the creation of some partitions.
Ooh.
Or I've seen people who take a walk-in closet and turn that into the logical office. Maybe they put in pocket doors so you can open it up to a room and then shut it off. I mean, there could be other space in the house, but it's what it means to you that matters.
It is. Yeah, it really is.
It's what it means to you.
So we were talking about needing to find that calm and let go of stress, because stress is such a huge part of buying a house, and it doesn't necessarily have to be. But, I think, any change, whether it's good change or bad change, is going to create a little bit of stress. So what kind of mindful practices do you suggest for people who are in the process of this change, this transition in their life?
Right. Well, it's kind of an overarching practice that you would bring to anything that you're doing in life that creates discomfort or change that you will find yourself wanting to resist, right? No matter how excited you are about a home purchase, if you're getting financing, you're going to have to dig out your tax returns and unfreeze your credit. I'm doing this right now, and I've been avoiding it. I'm just so avoiding printing out a P&L statement for my loan application. It's just, to me, I'd rather stick pencils in my eye, but I have to do it. I'm going to have to go in there and get that information and give it to the mortgage lender. Real estate is so emotional. So a lot of the stress is going to come from the emotions that inevitably arise. And I think that my mindfulness mantra is to try and be present and not resist whatever it is that's coming up. So if I'm angry, then I need to feel angry. If I'm sad, I need to feel sad. If I'm frustrated, I need to sit down, be quiet. And then there may even be some emotion that needs to pass through me. Mm-hmm. So I think for a lot of people, it's just making a little bit of space to process the emotion. And then we can think clearly, act clearly, make good decisions. But if we're angry about the fact that the microwave wasn't included in the sale and you were counting on it, that just kind of eats away at you. So it's really just basic mindfulness techniques like sitting down quietly and breathing can make a huge difference. As a real estate agent, I'm needing to have a compassionate stance where I'm compassionate and listening and able to hear the upset and the frustration that clients have, and try not to take that on personally. That's the challenge as an agent, is not to feel like I'm responsible for the fact that their house isn't selling for as much as they had hoped. And that requires continual befriending of oneself, to compassion for oneself. And I think compassion for oneself is maybe the hardest thing there is with mindfulness. Like, I can have lots of love and positive regard for you, Victoria, but I'm pretty much, I don't deserve it myself.
Right. Yeah. It's, because I think most people have these outlandish ideal standards that they set for themselves, and they want to please everyone. And you must run up against that so much as a realtor, because there's so much attachment and so much emotion wrapped up in moving into this place that people are going to live and spend the vast majority of their time. I mean, they sleep in this place, they eat in this place, they, do intimate things in this place. They, it's so intimate. It's such an intimate experience, really, that you're helping people to step into. And so it's got to really put a lot of pressure on you to help them to get into this ideal sanctuary that they want to create for themselves.
Exactly. And what's interesting is that I'm not very sales oriented. And yet I've been hugely successful. And I think one reason is that I love being in this really intimate relationship with people, whether they know it or not, right? Like, they think they're buying a house, but what they're really doing is making a home. And there's so much going on in their living into that home and finding themselves in that home. Yeah. So while they're going through the machinations of digging up their tax returns and P&L statement and getting their credit scores, I'm holding out for them that this is where they're going to raise their children. And I'm having a bigger picture, and that doesn't include me or my personal needs. It's all about them, and I love being able to witness that. And
I think that's what makes you successful, because you've set aside the monetary and the logical, salesy process of this, and you're just seeing the end picture that you want for them. You're holding, the real meaning behind what this is really doing for them on an emotional level.
Yeah, I'm doing that. And yet at the same time, I have to do the real killer work. I mean, I'm a really good agent. I'm really good at marketing, negotiating, anticipating problems, overcoming objections, understanding how this ripple is going to affect that one. I love that part. I love it. I love it when I win on behalf of my clients.
Yeah.
And yet, I'm also reminding, at least trying to keep in mind for them, that like a couple in their, like a young tech couple in their 30s, they're in love. One of them works at Facebook and one of them's at Google. They're so excited. They've come together and they find this perfect loft south of Market where they're going to have all these great parties and all this stuff. And you can just see that fantasy spinning out, and it's beautiful to behold. It's so lovely to see people happy and excited and in love. But I also know that that's the same space where, if things got really bad, somebody could be ill for a long time. And that same loft where they could have fabulous parties is maybe not so great for healing or sheltering in place right now.
Yeah, right.
That's exactly where, as soon as we get out of here, we're going to have a DIVORCE because we've been in this one big echoey space together for 3 months. So
yeah, it's got COVID has got to have really introduced a whole new dynamic into what people deem as important. It's like, oh, now all of a sudden, this is a new thing that we never really thought about before.
Well, you're probably finding that in your work. I mean, people are understanding that maybe there were some things that they thought were important before, and now it's reality check time.
Yeah, it really is. It really has created a whole new reality check for so many people. And so everything has changed ultimately in the way that we just think about things. I don't think that there's any one person who hasn't been at some level impacted, by the situation.
Yeah. I don't know who hasn't been. What's beautiful about it is this huge call to awaken. It's the chance to awaken as individuals, collectively, as communities, as a whole world. What a beautiful opportunity. Let's hope we don't squander it.
I agree. So you have your blog, Real Estate Therapy. How did you come up with that name? I mean, I can kind of take a guess, but tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I decided I'm a writer and my background was in writing, and I went through a phase of not enjoying my real estate work that much. And I was trying to think, what can I do to make it more interesting and also do some marketing using my talents and things that I'm interested in. So this was when blogging was kind of getting to be a new thing. So I started writing about real estate, writing about whatever interested me about real estate. Like, not 5 ways to make your house show better, but 5 ways that you're getting in your own way when you're buying a house. And I often had clients say to me things like, what a great experience. Thank you so much. Do you do couples therapy on the side? Or could you talk to my husband and give him some counseling? So it occurred to me that maybe real estate therapy was just a fun name.
Yeah.
And I have to confess, Victoria, that a lot of it was somewhat a mercenary choice. It was a way that I could stand out from other real estate agents and find connection with people and grow my business. But as I got further and further into it, I realized that what it was helping me do was define who I am and how I see my role as a real estate practitioner. And it has enriched it so much. I love it. I am not a therapist, however. I'm not.
Right. Yeah, even as a hypnotist, this is something that we have to be very careful to make sure that we, there's a separation. I mean, unless you are a therapist, you're not allowed to call yourself a therapist. Mm-hmm. And so, we, help people to empower, their mind, but we don't treat any kind of
Right.
mental problems or health conditions or, anything like that. So, so you, in a way, you're helping people to, empower themselves to make better emotional decisions for this almost like a life-changing transformation that they take on. And so but what do you wish people understood more about the role that you as a realtor can play in their lives?
Hello, this is Victoria Gallagher. I hope you're enjoying listening to the Power of Your Mind podcast. As a way of thanking you for listening, I'd like to offer you a one-time discount of 35% off your first order at hiptalk.com. Just go to hiptalk.com and enter the code PODCAST in the discount code area in your cart, and you'll receive 35% off your first order. Thank you so much for listening to the Power of Your Mind podcast.
What do I wish they understood more about the role that I play? Well, I'm lucky in that a lot of
for
my
example, like in a case like me, like I almost I'm like a do-it-yourself type of, person. I'll do everything myself. And then I think, for me, like in my imaginary world, I imagine myself like, okay, I got it all figured out. Now let me just go get a realtor. And realtor, I always pronounce that with the 3 syllables. That's two syllables.
A realtor.
Realtor. And I imagine myself like having it all figured out myself, and then I'll find that, then I'll get the realtor to help patch it all together for me.
Right.
But what would you tell somebody like me that's like a do-it-yourselfer on the role that a realtor could play?
Well, luckily, a lot of the clients who I work with, I think they really clearly see what I do. If they don't at the beginning, they get it really quickly. And so I feel valued. A lot of times there are people who've never bought or sold, or they've bought or sold real estate in a different market, and they undervalue the wisdom, experience, and skill that I have. And also the way that, unlike for example, a doctor, I'm available 25 hours a day, 8 days a week, and I make house calls, literally. Mm-hmm. And so I think what a lot of people don't understand is that real estate is residential real estate is sort of the last great service that takes a lot of skill, experience, dedication, and time that they can avail themselves of at a relatively, I can't say low cost, but that it's one arena where if you do it yourself, you truly, what do they say when you act as your own attorney, you have a fool for a lawyer.
Yeah.
You try to represent yourself on the sale or purchase of a house. It's such a mistake on so many levels and in so many ways, when instead you don't have to do it yourself. You have somebody who is devoted to you, who loves you, and who is only thinking about your progress, your happiness. They're dedicated to you. And a lot of people don't get that part.
That makes sense. And so what do realtors themselves need to understand in order to better serve their clients, in order to find more ease in their own practice?
Right. That's a big one. And as a business owner, I have my own agency, and I'm mentoring young agents. That you're not actually selling anything, and you're definitely not selling a house. And houses sell themselves. There is nothing that I can say that's going to make you want to buy something that you don't want to live in.
Right. It's so true.
So it's better to just give that up and instead be an ally, be a friend, and try to see things through the client's eyes, and with this other hat on, where you're looking out for their best interests in ways that they can't even know.
Right.
They can't know. I mean, I had a new agent who I was working with, and he helped me with an open house. And before the open house started, I said, let's just do a what do you call it? Role play.
Okay.
Here I am. I've come to see the house. So he says, hi, how are you? And he says, here's the kitchen, and here's the living room, and and I'm like, what are you doing? And he says, I'm showing them the house. And I'm like, just let them walk around. The house will show itself to them, right?
It's not like, you need to point those things out, but it's so true, because in my mind as a non-realtor, I would think that's, of course you're going to do that. But that makes so much sense the way you said, like just let them discover it on their own, and they're going to either love it or they're not going to love it. There's nothing about the words that you're just using to describe the place. Because you think like, as a realtor, you have to come up with all these elegant words to describe the open and airy forum and for all of the things that are in the house.
Well, I think that, and the word, the like, one of the things that can happen is your very attempt to sell or explain or show leads to a real distaste, this feeling of, get out of my face, that can undo their attachment to the house. So it's really important to let people have their space. Then they can come back, and if they have questions, or I may need to say, like, point out something obvious or not obvious, like, there's not a garage in the front, it's in the back. That might be good to know, because some people are just looking for an excuse to reject a place. That's usually the first thing on a buyer's mind, is how can I reject this place, not how can I like it. How can I cross this one off my list?
But I love, you just let it unfold organically and allow, and just be, be a presence there, like, and I mean, that's how I like to shop. If I go into a store and, I've got somebody on my, on my back the entire time, let me know if I can, show, and by the way, these are on sale. It's like, I don't care that those are on sale. I just want to, just be left alone and let me browse on my own. And it makes sense. It's the same thing when you go into a house. You want to be able to, like you said, if there's something unique about that house that is out of the ordinary, you want to be sure to point that out, but let them have their own experience.
Right. I mean, if they say, I'll use the microwave again. Where's the microwave? Yes, answer that, or here's where the owners kept their microwave, or it's a microwave drawer, or the microwave's in the pantry, whatever. That's fine. Answer the question. But, or if they're leaving and saying, I can't buy this house, I love everything about this house, but there's no microwave. You might say, well, yes, actually there is. But like in your clothing example, there was this one shop I used to go to that I loved in San Francisco. And there was one salesperson there who, whenever I would walk in, if I even like reached to touch something, or she'd say, that goes great with jeans, right? And then she'd say, oh, you could pair that with jeans and a scarf. And then over here, and that goes really beautiful.
You're trying too hard.
I'm like, everything apparently goes great with jeans. What if I don't like wearing jeans? I'm in trouble here, right? I came to think of her as goes with jeans. Good
Yeah.
girl.
It's interesting, and when I was just, something occurred to me too. Buying a house is very much like finding your soulmate ultimately. I mean, no matter how much somebody tries to set you up with this one particular individual, if that isn't the person that you're attracted to, there's nothing anybody's going to be able to tell you to make you be attracted to that person. And quite on the contrary, if you are attracted to that person, there's nothing anybody's going to be able to say necessarily, except for that person has a criminal record or whatever,
Right.
that's going to be able to talk you out of it. And but maybe in this case, you could talk somebody out of a sale if you're not letting it unfold for them the way that they're meant to experience it.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely, when it comes to house sales, I'm much more of a talk them out of it than talk them into it gal. Like, I feel like it's part of my fiduciary duty, as well as in their best interest for me to, that is the definition of fiduciary. Sorry. You're acting on the client's behalf.
Yeah.
I go right to the most negative thing. There's an unreinforced masonry foundation on this house, or you can hear the freeway from the backyard. I like to get to that right away, because let's not waste time.
They're going to find out about it anyway, and then they're going to you don't want people to have buyer's remorse or waste time on
right.
All of the positive things if there's going to be something that's going to be a major turnoff for somebody. So that makes a lot of sense.
I mean, and to use your example, I mean, we've all had our friends who we've watched go get crazy over somebody, and, we're just biting our tongue saying, well, maybe she's not, or, what about her? What, did you see the way he's treating her or whatever? And then we don't say anything. And then, I don't know, 8 years, 20 years later, when they get a divorce, you go, oh, I could have told you that.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
whoa, wait a minute. You should have spoken up.
Right. So just last thing, you had mentioned that, buying or that a home is a metaphor for ourself. So can you go into that a little bit?
Yeah, well, it's like in AA, there's three tenets are, what is it? Clean house. One of them's clean house, and one's serve others. I forget what the third one is. Out of order. But clean house literally means get your act together, get yourself in order, right? Do the things that you need to do to have a clean house.
Yeah.
And so, home is a metaphor. Ultimately, our home, at least while we're here on earth, is our body. Our home is our body. And so, in a spiritual way, as well as a physical way, it's getting right with ourselves, being mindful, being here, like being here in this moment. This right now, this is my home, right here, where my root chakra is connecting with this chair. This is home. And so a house that we live in with a roof under us, over us, is really just an extension of that. It's like, they say home is where the heart is, or you can't go home again, right? That's talking about you can't go back to some place that's ephemeral. But home is always here in our within ourselves is where home is. And
That makes a lot of sense. And I have a theory, and I don't know if you validate this at all, but I have a theory, kind of like when I was talking to you about the the negative feelings that I had about the drawer space and the little things. And I feel like what you resist persists. And so, I can't exactly attract my my dream home situation if I am walking around here with just this negative that negative feeling about, oh, this doesn't work right, or I don't like that, or I don't like that. And so if you're coming from that negative space of not liking your home, you have to kind of make peace with that. You have to fix that. You have to allow yourself to figure out a way to get right within your own home, and that'll open up the space and the energy and the vibration for attracting the right situation.
Yeah, I think that's what we resist persists. Resistance is the obstacle to being with what is and being present. And I think that always what happens is when we're resisting and we're not being mindful, we also are not befriending ourselves. We're kind of saying, oh, it needs to feel different. You need to make it different. You got to change this. This isn't okay. And in fact, at that point, we need to befriend ourselves and be a little curious about, why is this happening? Why am I feeling this way? And then be open to letting it solve itself, because then there can be a delightful surprise. Like, I don't know, maybe it's like a banana hammock that hangs from the ceiling that you put all your stuff in instead of a drawer. I don't know.
Yes.
But, curiosity and openness can
There's
just
a solution for everything.
Can make it better.
Allow ourselves to open our hearts and our minds, and like you said, be present, be calm, practice mindfulness. So yeah. I love that. I love this conversation, and I love that you are somebody who is, practicing mindfulness, and that you really, this is not just buying a house for you. I mean, it is about helping people to kind of, make peace with themselves and, and have what they want on an emotional, spiritual level. And so I really love that. I think that really is part of what makes you, very successful, because you get the why. And I think when you have figured out the why, everything else just, the hows all fall into place. And so you're also writing a book that is going to be coming out in 2020. You want to tell us a little bit about that? 2020
or 2021.
I'm sorry. I was thinking 2021 and the words 2020 came out of my mouth, but yes, fine. You're 21.
Yeah. It's kind of more of just what we've been talking about, a look at home and its deeper meanings, taking my blogs as kind of a jumping off point. And so it's a little bit for buyers, a little bit for sellers, a little bit for everybody, a little bit about San Francisco, which is such a crazy place. And then a little bit of fun, because real estate there's some great stories and some very funny things that go on, because it's just a very human business, right? It's very, and we've got to find the humor in humanness, right?
Absolutely. Oh yeah. I bet after 30 years of doing this, you've definitely accumulated quite a few interesting tales.
Yes. Yes, for sure.
Well, that's great. Well, thank you so much for coming on the Power of Your Mind podcast today. It's been a really entertaining conversation, and definitely learned a few more things about the therapy side of real estate. I think that that's really, really, you have a really great perspective on what it truly means to make this transition, this important life transition for a lot of people. So for our guests to learn more about this and to, keep up to date on when Cynthia's book is going to come out, you can visit realestatetherapy.org and look for the announcement about Cynthia's book coming out in early 2021.
Yes, most likely.
Very cool. All right.
Well, I hope you're able to solve your 4-bedroom versus 5-bedroom conundrum.
Yes. I'm sure it'll all come together in due time. When the timing, is right, it'll magically, the correct house will show up. That, I'm not 100% attached to. There's, luckily I live in a market here where there's lots of opportunities. So I'm, that one just kind of, there's something special about it, and it's not too far away from where I live. So I literally go down and jog down there and stand in front of the home every once in a while. I can see myself living here.
Well, what you've just said is, if you're jogging by it and standing out in front and envisioning yourself living there, you could either figure out how to make that work, or what are the qualities of that house that you want to take somewhere else.
Yes, definitely.
But that's exciting that something's calling to you. I'm happy for you.
Yeah, thank you. Well, I'm so happy that you have been able to be my first realtor guest on the show. Maybe this will be a new, avenue that other realtors may come on the show and talk about their different, their different perspectives on becoming the best in this profession. So thank you so much. And I wish you continued success. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Victoria. Bye.
Bye-bye.
If you enjoyed today's episode, please share it with your friends. And once again, be sure to subscribe to the Power of Your Mind podcast if not already. We can be found as Hip Talk on all our social media accounts. So like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram, subscribe on YouTube, and sign up for your free self-hypnosis video training course at hiptalk.com. Be sure to subscribe to the Power of Your Mind podcast, and you'll be instantly notified the moment the next podcast becomes available. Also, please be sure to leave a rating and a review to tell us how you're enjoying these episodes, and that way you're making a contribution toward others getting to share in this valuable information. Thank you so much, and I'll talk to you soon. You've been listening to the Power of Your Mind podcast, brought to you by HipTalk.com, Personal Growth Club, and HypnoCloud apps available at iTunes.